Hi, it's Anna. I know I've been away for a while, even though I've barely picked it up again. But basically, I had some thesis work and it's kind of had priority over some weird internet videos. So that's why. But for some reason, I've read a lot in the meantime, and I just kind of wanted to update you on what I'm currently reading, what I've been reading for the past week. Kind of a Friday read, only on Saturday, because yesterday I just didn't really have time, and when I wanted to read, which has kind of been a theme. But anyway, so I've read 5 books this far this month, which is a lot for me, particularly since there was the Wind Up Bad Chronicle, which is quite big, but I had already read most of it, but it had been like currently being read for a few months, so I'm really glad to get that out of the way. But yeah, I basically have made a weekly TBR for myself, so every week I just have like basically my June TBR, and I have like week 1 these books, week 2 these books, and that works really well for me. I think next time I'm just going to share that one, but I just lost trust in myself for following my TBR, cause like last month was just a train wreck. But then I didn't really do the weekly thing that month, but I did the month before, and that was also a successful month. So I think I'm just a weekly TBR person. So it's Saturday now. And this week I've finished 2 books so far, I think. The last few books I've read are Franny and Zoe by J.T. Salinger. I really love these editions, by the way, because they're just like also similar, and then it's just like you never know what's in one of these tiny mass market paperback penguins, and it could be all kinds of stories. Anyway, so this is basically 1 short story, Franny, and 1 novella, Zoe, which are also the character names. Basically, I really enjoyed Franny. I read it in 1 day, and which is not like special because it's like 30 pages or something. And then I immediately started Zoe. I loved Franny, and like especially just the character of Franny, but just the entire story. The entire story just surrounds her being like just a bit lost in the whole college years thing. She doesn't really know what to do with herself, and she's kind of existential and thinks everyone's stupid, but not in a catching the rye way. It felt a bit more relatable, but maybe I'm just annoying. And like Catching the Rye was a long time ago. But I loved Franny. She was just so dramatic, and I lived for it. And then Zoe was kind of a similar story. It also revolved Franny, but from the perspective of her brother Zoe. Through like a different narrator basically, but whatever. Which kind of gave it an interesting dimension, because it was from someone else's perspective who had heard everything secondhand, and it basically plays with should you trust everything he's saying. But then it didn't put him himself in a very good light, so maybe we should. But I found Zoe to drag a bit, even though it was good. It was really enjoyable, and it was probably mainly that I didn't have a lot of time in those days, and I had difficulty finding the time to pick it up. But it took me like 4 days to read Zoe or something. Enjoyed it nevertheless. They both played with very interesting themes, and I'd give like both of them like, I'd give the totality 4 stars. I think I loved Franny so much, and Zoe was just okay. I found the character of Zoe to get a bit shitty, but apart from that, it was really good, and I'd definitely recommend it. And I'll be soon picking up some more Salinger, I hope, because he's great, and I have some books left of him to read, which is special because he hasn't written that much. Then I read Rosemary's Baby by R11, and I just finished that one. And I read it in only 2 days, and it isn't that long, but it was really quick, you know. But so it's basically the story of a woman and like her husband moving into an apartment. This apartment is supposedly a bit weird, but they're like whatever. And then the neighbors are kind of being weird as well. And then Rosemary becomes pregnant because she wants a child. And then things get weirder. And if you like, the cover tells it all, honestly. Like, it was really sexist, really racist, really homophobic, really fatphobic. It was very dated, let's put it that way. It was a very dated book. But apart from that, if you think like, oh, that I still want to read it, the story started off quite well. There were some characters I liked. I think it was quite, I wouldn't really call it suspenseful, but it was at some points quite like, oh, this is interesting and I'm wondering where the story is going. And it didn't bore me, and most books bore me at some point, so that was very good. But then everything kind of like went on and you found out how everything was tied together, which was interesting. But then the ending came and it was just ridiculous. So if you have no idea what this is about and you're interested, maybe like turn off the sound for a few seconds until I'm done reading. And there was just one really weird quote, and it's not that much of a, well, it's, if you know what's going on with the baby, but you don't know how everything exactly ties together, then this won't spoil it. If you don't know what's going on with the baby, then this will definitely spoil it. So, quote starting. He couldn't be all that bad. He just couldn't. Even if he was half Satan, wasn't he half her as well? Half decent, ordinary, sensible human being. And I was just like, oh my god, Rosemary, calm the fuck down. What are you doing? Like, how can you think that? But okay, because it seemed a bit of a stretch. without spoiling it, because the book's gone. Also, I just found everything to be a bit laughable near the end, you know? Like, I laughed out loud so many times, and I didn't find it scary in the least, even though I'm like one of those people who can't watch horror movies. Because I find them so scary. But this just wasn't frightening. It was mainly just really funny, because everyone was just like, he'll Satan. It was so ridiculous. What I have marked as currently reading and I'm about to start is Nausea by Jean-Paul Sartre. A fictionalized account of Sartre's ideas about existentialism, existential angst. So it follows this writer who is just like, who has this nausea about life. And I didn't know too much about it, but like, I'm interested in Sartre and existentialism, and I thought I'd give it a go. So, I mean, there's a very old book haul on my channel, which includes this one and me being excited to read it, and this is one of those books that has just remained unread for years, which is a bit of a shame, but I'm still excited, and I mean, my excitement about books doesn't really dwindle too much. And then afterwards I only have one book on my TBR left for the month, which is Perfume by Patrick Suskind, which follows someone who wants to make the best perfume, and therefore he kills people to get the perfect scent of a virgin. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Also seems like a very dark book. I've tried to read it in German, but I just couldn't get through the words because I didn't really speak German. But I know the writing is excellent. Also, I really like the font. I really needed a book with big font once again. I mean, Rosemary's Baby had big font, but I just don't like tiny letters because the pages just feel endless, which was my main problem with Wine the Birds Chronicle, which was my only problem with Wine the Birds Chronicle, to be honest, because that book was amazing. But yeah, this is kind of what I've been reading, what I'm planning on reading. So let me know what you're reading. If you've read the Rosemary's Baby ending particularly, if you also find it like strangely laughable. Thanks for watching, and I hope I'll see you again soon. Bye.